So I'm on the phone with Nils from the Rural Alberta Advantage. And first of all, congratulations on the success of your latest record, Mend It With Gold. Everyone is talking about it.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, we're really proud of it. So I'm glad that people are enjoying it. So.
With a band with that name, though, you are based in Toronto, so you probably confuse some people once in a while with your band name.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of a little confusing, but I'm originally an Albertan, so I moved out to Toronto, well, a while ago now. So after I finished university in Edmonton, I moved out to Toronto, and that's where I met Paul and Amy. And I think a lot of the songs, at the time I was going through this sort of, looking back home at where I'd grown up with these rosy-colored glasses and, certain sense of homesickness. And I think a lot of the songs just sort of reflected those memories that I had from growing up in Alberta. And the two kind of just made sense at the time because a lot of the songs were, like I was saying, referring to Alberta. So, yeah, and we've just sort of stuck with the name because I think there's a certain sense of, it's, I don't even know how to describe it. There's, as much as I've been in Toronto for, I believe it's probably 12 years now, I've still got a certain sense of, where I came from and the upbringing that I had. So I have these memories of Alberta, I guess. So.
And I was reading somewhere about how the band got together through an open mic platform. Is that true?
Yes, that is 100% true. So originally, Paul and I were kind of hosting an open mic night, and no one came out to it. It was pretty pitiful. So yeah, the two of us were kind of hosting that, and we just started playing together. And the more that we were kind of like playing together and whatnot, we had to get a bunch of songs together for an open mic night like that no one would show up at. So we had just hours of stuff, and from there we'd start sort of writing our own things. And every now and then a friend would come and be like, "Yeah, you guys should get out of this place and play some shows with us." So we started playing shows for nobody as well at different venues, and we just kind of stuck with it. So yeah, and from there we brought Amy into the fold because she kind of bridged the gap between what Paul and I were doing. We just need a little more instrumentation there. So that's kind of where the band started, I guess.
But did you ever think that something so simple, like joining together so organically like that, would have taken you this far?
No. I think it's a fair thing to say that none of us expected that we would, be doing the things that we're doing right now from those humble beginnings of a Tuesday night on in Toronto. That place is now closed down. It's a Tim Hortons because we didn't really help bring out an audience. But yeah, we never in a million years would have expected it. But I guess at the same time, we were doing it because it was something that we loved, and like we're all really good friends from everything that sort of happened, and it's not like the band was auditioned and we answered like a roll call or something. So we're still at the heart of it, we're all just really good friends. So.
But it almost sounds that way, though. Like, yours and Amy's voices together are just so perfectly, like, they balance each other. It really does sound like, you searched for this combination.
Well, I guess we just lucked out and hit it out of the park right out of the gates. But yeah, no, I think there's a certain sense of us working with the tools that we have in an appropriate way. And yeah, I guess, we're like we teach ourselves to play and whatnot, and we just do the best we can with the skills we have. So maybe it's just sort of like playing to your strengths more so than, anything else.
So let's go back and chat about Mend It With Gold for a second here, because it's a lot about relationship troubles, lost love, losing love, that sort of thing. Is that just an easy theme to write about, or are you actually pulling from personal experiences?
Well, I believe it is an easy thing to write about, but it's even easier when you are pulling from very personal, real situations. So yeah, like I don't know, I've always been, for one, drawn to those sorts of songs, and that's sort of like someone sort of pouring their heart out in a earnest sort of way without being sort of like overwrought, because that can be a little bit too much. But yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say that like part of the last couple of years involved a lot of that sort of ending of relationships and realizing, what's to come after that, and the idea that, you're stronger for sort of the losses that you've gone through, as opposed to, dwelling on the absence of certain things. So.
And I was going through online, which can be very dangerous, reading reviews of the album and stuff. And the one thing that everyone seems to be pointing out, which is absolutely true, is the more distinctive or thundering, I guess, presence of the drumming on your album. And was this a conscious thought, though? Like when you went to the studio, were you like, okay, hey guys, we need to make some more killer drums?
Not particularly with the drums, because I think that's something we've always sort of, put at the forefront there. Paul's drumming is so integral to the actual songwriting itself that, it's not like we changed anything in that regard. But what we did try to do is we tried to capture more of the, get a larger sound out of the room that we're recording in for the record. Because, not disparaging the first two records, which we're really happy with, we all felt like there was something that was missing in those recordings. Like we'd play a show and people would come up after and be like, "Oh yeah, no, that was really great," but your live show just doesn't do the album just doesn't do justice to the live show. So I think that was something that we were definitely trying to attack with this sort of record, which is why we brought in Matthew Letterman to help produce the album, and he's been our front of house engineer for the last couple of years now, so he knows our stuff kind of better than we do at times. And what we were trying to get was some of that live energy into the recordings itself. So I'm glad that it comes across in that sense.
And you are heading out on tour this March, stopping here in Fredericton on the 26th, downtown at the Capitol. What are some of the expectations, I guess, on this tour coming out to the East Coast?
Well, you never really have specific sets of expectations. We just sort of, look forward to meeting a bunch of new people that maybe we have never seen before, or who knows, maybe there'll be people with stories being like, "Oh yeah, I saw you in Sackville when you first came out in 2008 or something." Because, like I said, we haven't been out here in quite some time, but we're just looking forward to playing in front of some new people that we haven't played before. So yeah, it's I don't know. You kind of check your expectations before you leave. You don't want them to get too high, and you just kind of roll with the punches, I guess. So.
And once you do finish up this East Coast tour, what other things do you guys have coming up in the near future?
We're just trying to work out the summer right now, but there'll be some festivals in there. And yeah, just, kind of slowly working on, new music for the next album, whenever that happens. So, but yeah, it's not, we're just sitting on our laurels here. So.
And for those of us who want to find out more about you guys or buy your album, what's all your social media?
Oh man, there's so many social media things right now.
Or what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, our website's thra.com, and from there that would sort of take you to all the Facebook, Twitter things and whatnot. Our record label in Canada is Paperbag Records, and you can buy the albums through them or cool record stores, I guess. And if there is somebody with a crazy antenna that is hearing this in the States, we're also in Saddle Creek in the States. But yeah, I think, if people could email us through the website too. So yeah, there's far too many things now to keep track of.
All right, my final question is the same one that I ask everyone I talk to. What are you listening to right now? What are you digging?
Oh, well, I was just listening to a new Father John Misty record. I think that's really great. I was just listening to the Pops Staples record that just came out, and I picked up some jazz records a little while ago, so I was just kind of listening to those. So, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place, I guess. So.
Well, that's the beauty of music.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us here at CHSR, and safe travels, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. I'm really happy to be coming out.